Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to work on this RSX A410 right-sided shifter. I believe this is a 8 or 7 speed, I can't quite remember. Now my real intentions for working on this shifter is to actually repair another one which is extremely similar, the RX 100. I actually want the spring that's underneath the cover to repair the shifter because this one's missing. Now this shifter is actually sticky and not working. We're going to try and open it up anyway. If I don't do that, then I will. I recommend you to go onto the other video that we'll do for the RX 100, where I definitely need to fix it, and I most likely will be dismantling it. So let's begin. Underneath here you'll have a small little bolt. It will be a number 2 that you'll need to remove. Just for reference as well, there's the tip of the spring here. Well, I just got it. It's a bit rounded, rust. This is a bit of the reason why you want to have very good quality Allen wrenches, as it will make all the difference if you're able to remove these or not. Now that you've taken it out, we're going to have this pin. I don't know which side that this needs to be removed, and I'm going to just tap it onto this side. So I'm going to use a screw little bit and hammer and tap it out. I'm going to put this underneath something so that the pin can fall out without damaging the rest of the shifter. As you can see, it's already coming out. Another reason to open this up is because the shifter's not clicking or moving, I'm unable to remove this cable from it. Let's take off the spring, tip curved into that hole. I have these 2 plastic bushings, longer one on this side. If you want, you can remove this part. You need to get something behind it though, and it'll come off. Now, since I don't care about this shifter so much, I can test something out. I've had this for a long time. It's kind of like a key. I think what it is for is those kind of security quick release skewers on wheels to stop people from stealing them. And the reason I kept it is because I noticed that the teeth or the size looked perfect, same size as the ones that they have on some Shimano shifters, notably on their road shifters, but I think on the XTR ones, XTR shifters as well. And that key allows you to actually remove this, because I've tried to remove them with a plier before and it was really hard. And guess what? Although it's a tight fit, I've had to tap this in, but guess what? This fits into there. You can actually remove this lock nut. Yeah, so I managed to get it in. Now I just wanted to kind of demonstrate. I don't know if I'm going to undo this, but it's cool anyway. And look, you can actually lock this off. Now obviously Shimano does not sell this tool for this thing here. It's just randomly that I've been able to find something like that. Let's take off the bolt on the front. And we've got our spring at the rear. Just making sure that where that spring was. So it looks like there's a sill, and one tip of that spring was going into the quite large hole at the bottom there. You've got 2 options here. You're either going to put the whole thing back on, the whole lever with the mechanism onto your, I don't know, lever if you need to replace it for some reason, or we're going to just open up like we're going to do now. So you need to remove the, or slide open the lever for the gear, and right there's going to be a screw. Now that's a JS, we can see right there's little dots, it's a JIS screw, and that's why we're going to use our vessel. Although in fairness, the Union non-JIS screwdrivers work as well. And that is removed. Now that we've done that, this should come off. Instantly here we can see the issue. There's tons of issues. Mainly just the grease is so hard and old that each one of these pulls are stiff and stuck on everything. This is here, if you move the trigger, it's sliding over a part of the sprocket that it needs to move, and it's just not latching on. So I mean, most people probably have that issue right there. Now I'm going to undo this just for the fun of it. I just want to make sure of something mainly. I would guess that no one's going to have that tool to be able to take this off, and I have tried taking them off before. I guess you could take them off with if you have something that enables you to do that. You'll notice right there's the spring here. That's probably the return spring for this lever. You can easily take that off. Just need to unlatch the spring, and we can lift up this kind of metal plate. Looks like the other tip of that spring is latched on just in front right there. The only other thing that I can imagine people might want to replace is this lever. That's very easy to take off. There'll be that sprocket, the pull to lift up if it's blocked or trapped, and you can just simply slide it off. There's also a washer there, so be careful that doesn't drop out. Sometimes they're stuck at the back. This pull here, maybe the spring's bent or no longer tension. You can tension these up. There's a little clip on the top there, and you can just take it off. I don't imagine taking off the rest. It's fairly simple though if you look at it really. Just videotape the process if you really need to do that, but I don't see the reason why you'd want to do this. Now what I'm going to do is run this under some WD-40, and that should rejuvenate the grease, and then we can move on from there. Well, I quickly put some WD-40 on it. The thing is that I don't need this to work because I'm actually salvaging a part from this one to get onto the to put onto the other shifter I've got, which we will also open. Anyway, if you want to put this lever back on, imagining that you've been able to open this up, you'll need to recline that little pull back there, and you'll want that to be seating roughly there. If I remember correctly, we had this kind of plastic seal thing, and one part just slots into, there's a hole there. We've got this kind of return spring, so I think the return spring just seats on the top of this, and one tip's going to go in front of the lever. You'll just see there on the tip of my finger, like that, and then the other tip was going into this metallic part. Which side was it on? I'm guessing it's that side. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think that that plate goes like this. And then that spring tip there is going to go latching onto the back of it. There's like a hook shape. So I'm going to recline that spring back, try and do it with my finger, and that's a bit too hard. There, and now it's on there properly. I had this plastic cover. Don't know where that goes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it went like that somehow. I think that little tip was going through the hole of it as well. And you want to make sure these parts are nicely seated before we put the next part on. Don't know what we call this. Some form of holder. So you want that parallel with the lever. There. And now I think we've got just the lock nut. I've just got to get my special key back into there to finish locking it up. On this particular shifter, there seems to be an issue with I think it's one of the return springs for these sprockets. So I've managed to put it back into the correct position. I think that is the correct position. And so when you click on this lever, you'll see that the lever's working fine. It's lifting up all the pulls. But the only problem is that this sprocket here is not turning. It's not turning. What is it? Clockwise. It should be going on to the last teeth, I believe, and it's not doing it. It just seems stuck. I don't know why. I'm not going to try and figure this out since I don't need this shifter. Likeliness is that the other shifter that I'm going to work on, the A50, will have that potential issue as well. And in which case I might have to actually undo the whole mechanism and figure out what to do with that. On the other side of this, then there will be this ring. We can then pop over the lever. You can recline that back open again and stick in that screw. Now you can put the spring back at the front, the return spring. There was a little plastic seal, and you'll see there's a groove going around there, and you'll want to seat that little plastic ring into the groove. Now next, it's a little bit tricky doing this spring. You'll see on one side there's a little part there that's flat, or flat, that isn't rounded like the other side of the spring. I think the flat one needs to go onto this end, and it will go into that hole right there at the end of my finger. Now we're going to need to twist the spring when we're going to put it back onto here at the front. We're going to need to tension it anyway. That tip of that spring is going to go into the hole there. Now there's also this part here that goes into the hole there towards the top. And then this is square shaped, and that needs to seat onto this type of female nut part right there. Now when you're going to twist this, what you want to do is try and catch one of those parts of the spring against this when you're turning it, and it helps you to get this all seated down properly. So I don't know if I'm trying to capture it in camera. It's a bit hard to actually do that. But you'll have to figure out, but you do want this to be completely seated. So now I'm turning mine. And so it should be fairly laying flat like mine is now. Now once you've done that, you can hold this down. We can now screw that in, the bolt. That longer tip's going to go into the hole right there. So you're going to have something like that. And the other tip, that spring, is going to be laying flat against this part. And then we're going to have that pin. So the part of that groove in there is going to go that way. Bit too far. And then we've got that little bolt to screw back in. Right, well there you have it. If I get the other shifter, then I will add this onto the video for the other side if it's worth doing. Otherwise, I think that will be the end. So thank you for listening. I hope this helped you fix or do something on your RSX shifter. If you need to work on the mech like I will be needing to, I have a very good feeling that the RX 100 is going to be exactly the same, and I will be publishing that. And there's a good possibility that I will need to completely remove the mech and open it up. I ended up getting the other side. It's equally just as bad, if not worse. It's not doing anything. It's not moving at all. Possibly the old grease inside there. I can't seem to get this the cable out either. So we're going to go ahead and remove everything, and we're going to see what we can do about that. Let's begin by removing this cover at the front. Coming off. It still doesn't want to come off. So on the other end of that is a spring. It's fairly symmetrical. I'd say the longer tip though maybe goes into the cover. Got a bolt. There's a star locking spacer inside there. We'll take that off after though. Yeah, this I can't move. I'm sure it will move though once we start disassembling. You'll notice here I think there's meant to be a plastic cover, and it's missing, so we don't have that part anymore. I'm pretty sure that it's there. We're going to need to remove the pin that goes through there. I'm just going to smack it out of a hammer again. I'm going to use a little bit tool there to go against it. It's come off already. I'm just going to cut off this wire because it's just in the way. Since it's already kind of all opened up, we've got a nice view. I've already identified one of the issues. You'll see that pull. It's completely it's sticky for one, and the spring, its return spring, is it's come off. It should be at the front, so we already know that. And just generally everything's very sticky in here, so it will need some cleaning. Let's open up though properly, and then we can have a good access. There is a reason, turn, turn, turn. So the return spring is latched onto there on the corner. Let's remove the bushing here. And the remnants of the plastic cover, no doubt. Let's take off the lever, and that way we've got better access now for our pull that we're going to need to clean. So now we've got better access to this screw as well. That's going to allow us to probably remove the mech. And now we can pull that out. Wow, we've got great access now to clean all this. And we've got rid of that cable that just fed out. I'm going to add some degreaser, put some degreaser and get rid of this old grease mostly. And yeah, I could go further on this, but I just don't see the point of removing everything for this one. We've got good access there on each corner. If you do though, it looks fairly simple, the mechanism. What is it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 layers roughly of bits and bobs there. Okay, I've given the mech a clean and generally all the parts, not hugely as this is going back into a parts bin. But yeah, we're going to put a bit of grease now on this top half, and we're going to put the lever, the small lever, back on. Just putting a bit of grease on that lever as well. So I managed to, it looks like I've managed to fix the little pull here, so now it's nice and springy again. There's a bushing that's going to go just there behind the lever, and we're going to need to recline this kind of, and we're going to need to fit it down towards here. There you go. There you go. Okay, that should be all nice and seated. Now we need to put back the spring. I'm just looking if there's any difference between the two. Yeah, one part's a little bit longer there. Looks like it's sticking out. So I would imagine that the part that's sticking out is going to go latching onto that top part there. And now we can put this this back on. Not too sure where, probably this way. There, and we're going to have to tension now the other tip of that spring and bring it up towards where that hook part is. And that's on. I think I'm going to have to make sure that that part there's not overlapping as well. Just checking, but now the spring looks nice and flat. Well, at least this plate's laying nice and flat on the that bushing that we had before. Oh yeah, and there's obviously the plastic cover. I nearly forgot about it because it's in bits. I'm going to put it back on, but I don't think it has much functionality anymore. Then there's this cover with the little sticker. Nobly the coding right there. And that tip of that spring's going through that hole. And now let's insert this back on. There you go. And now we need to put back our lock ring. Special nut. I've got it. There you go. Okay, I'm going to fast forward that. Let's give that a test. No. And there you go. Alright, so this is a 2-speed shifter. Nice to hear the clicking again. Oh, well then, since everything's working, let's just stick it all back on. So insert the lever on, and on the other end there was a bushing. Though we can do that after, doesn't matter. Let's get the screw on here. I should have done that before, but now it's we've already done this now. Slap that back on. Normally there's a seal that's going to go on here, but either I've misplaced it, it wasn't there, I can't remember. Not very important, but anyway, I'm sure you can figure that out. You just need to put that little black ring back on, and now we need to tension up this spring. So I believe that the short tip of that spring, I mean, they look fairly symmetrical in fairness. I don't think it's going to make much difference what side you put it in. The short one, I think, went into here, and the other tip of that spring is going to go into the hole there, the end of my finger. Well, it's a weird shaped hole, like a hot dog shape. So we need to tension that up. And once tensioned, you need to seat the lever in the correct place. So the behind there, it's square. And yeah, I've got mine. Slipped. There you go, got it. Let's grab the bolt now that holds this down. So just like on the other shifter, we'll have that long tip that's going to go into the hole right there. Put that in. And the other tip of the spring that's sticking out is going to seat right there. Yeah, there you go, I've got mine. So make sure that's all aligned up. And now we can put that pin through. So again, the pin, the part there with the groove, is going to need to be placed where the that little bolt's going to go. Just put a little bit of grease on there to let that slide in better. Cool. And I'm just zooming in, but yeah, there you go. You've got the little bolt there to put on. You can definitely put some thread locker on the threading to prevent it from corrosion. Right, well that's nice and working. Can't do anything more. So thank you for listening, and I hope this helped you repair your RSX A410 shifter, the 3-speed and the I think it was the 8-speed side. Until next time, for the derailleur, actually I'm going to be doing the RSX derailleur as well. Peace out.